What's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer, and welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you for tuning in. And ladies and gentlemen, this video is going to be absolutely incredible. Make sure you like this video. Let's see if we can hit 1,000 likes, because everyone needs to see this. Every single person that stacks silver, that is even somewhat slightly curious about precious metals and the future of silver, they need to see this video. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you leave a nice comment down below. Help the YouTube algorithm gods promote this video. And also, most importantly, you want to be subscribed, because I'm doing a massive 50,000 subscriber giveaway. Now, we're talking about the future of not only silver, but technology. Incorporating the silver shortage with the declining supply and where they're going to get this silver from. Think about it. We know that silver is scarce. We've seen the numbers. By 2030, we will literally run out of silver. I've shown the below ground supply versus the above ground supply versus the global demand. And by the year 2030, we will run out of silver. That's a fact. Numbers don't lie. So we've always capped our thought. We always stopped thinking past $100 silver, $500 silver, $1,000 silver. Yes, that's going to happen. Low supply, high demand shoots the price up. But have you ever thought about after that? Yeah, we all get rich or whatever. Yeah, silver shoots up. But then what? We still need silver to make solar panels. We still need silver to make 5G towers. We still need silver for electric vehicles. We still need a lot of silver. So when we run out of silver, what's going to happen? We just stop making electric vehicles, even though every car company by 2030 is going to be going green electric. As we go into this new digital era, the technological era we're advancing in, where silver is going to be needed more and more, we're just going to stop? No. Silver is going to come from somewhere. They're going to find a way to get silver, whether it's out of the ground, whether it's in that shoebox under your bed or 2 feet under the ground in your backyard, or in space. Space mining is coming. There's an asteroid approaching Earth. It'll be here in like 3-4 years. It has 500 quintillion dollars worth of precious metals. They said if they could mine this asteroid, gold would be just as common as your everyday rock outside in your side porch or under your porch. This could be huge. Now, what would that do to the price of silver and gold? Probably plummet it. But I just want to talk about this article because this guy dives deep into it. I wanted to give a little bit of context before we jumped into this article, because it's very heavy. And no, we probably will not have the technology to mine the asteroid that's coming within 3-4 years. But it is definitely going to be something that I see in the future. Definitely in the future. And that's a need. That's not a, oh, we could do that. If we want to advance as a civilization, if you think about a sci-fi movie, you know, flying cars, skyscrapers, all this digital stuff, all that requires silver. But we haven't even started the solar panel, the Green New Deal yet. And the U.S. Mint's already having trouble finding 13 million ounces to produce their American Eagles. American Eagles, around 13 million ounces per year, and the U.S. Mint had to put a limited supply out. They can't even find 13 million ounces when the global demand is 900 million, almost 1 billion ounces. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? They're going to get that silver somewhere, somehow. I can guarantee that. Link to this article will be in the description. Let's jump into it. Space exploration is back. And by the way, this was written not too long ago. This was written August 2021 or April 2021, April 26th. So very recently. So after decades of disappointment, a combination of better technology, falling costs, and a rush of competitive energy from the private sector has put space travel front and center. Indeed, many Analysts, even some with their feet on the ground, believe that commercial developments in the space industry may be on the cusp of starting the largest resource rush in history, mining on the moon, Mars, and asteroids. Now, the asteroid one in particular is the most interesting. That one is the most interesting because it's covered with precious metals. There's a name for the asteroid. I can't think of it on the top of my head, but I covered an entire video about this asteroid, the possibilities, which it's very unlikely, but just what that could mean for precious metals and not only just gold and silver prices, but the earth moving forwards, civilization itself. So while this may sound fantastical, some baby steps towards the goal have already been taken. Last year, NASA awarded contracts to 4 companies to extract small amounts of lunar regolith by 2024, effectively beginning the era of commercial space mining. Whether this proves to be the dawn of a gigantic adjunct of mining Earth and even more immediately a key to unlocking cost-effective space travel, this will turn on the answers to a host of questions ranging from what resources can be efficiently. As every fan of science fiction knows, the resources of the solar system appear virtually unlimited compared to those on Earth. There are whole other planets, dozens of moons, thousands of massive asteroids, and millions of small ones that doubtless contain humongous quantities of materials that are scarce and very valuable back on Earth. Visionaries including Jeff Bezos imagine heavy industry moving to space and Earth becoming a residential area. However, entrepreneurs look to harness the riches beyond the atmosphere across to space resources remain tangled in the realities of economics and governance. It's getting harder and harder to find silver out of the ground. Actually, silver is more rare than gold. Silver is a byproduct. We're not looking for silver. We're looking for gold, lead, and zinc. If we find some silver while we're looking for it, we'll take it, but we're not looking for it. Silver is a byproduct. We find silver by accident. There is only a few, and I'm talking about, I can count them on my right hand, that are focal silver mines. Very, very few. So start with the fact that space belongs to no country, complicating traditional methods of resource allocation, property rights, and trade. With limited demand for materials in space itself, the need for huge amounts of energy to return materials to Earth, creating viable industry, will turn major advances in technology, finance, and business models. So, that said, there's no grass growing under potential pioneers' feet. Potential economic, scientific, and even security benefits underlie an emerging geopolitical competition to pursue space mining. The United States is rapidly emerging as a frontrunner, in part due to its ambitious Artemis program to lead multinational consortium back to the moon. But it is also a leader in creating a legal infrastructure for mineral exploitation. The United States has adopted the world's first space resources law, recognizing the property rights of private companies and individuals to materials gathered in space. They're already thinking about this. They're already 2 steps ahead, about this, because they know that this is the last resort. I mean, we could ramp up. We could try to build better gadgets and try to find a way to mine silver and gold out of the earth, or we could look where it is infinite and where it would be everlasting. Eventually, it's going, there's only so much gold and silver in the Earth's crust. There's only so much we can get looking downwards, but looking upwards is infinite. So why waste the time? Why waste the time, the money, and the energy trying to make mining on the ground so efficient when we could start, in which they already have, and probably because they've thought about this, they've thought this through. Especially with that asteroid coming, I think that sparked a lot of this. Because ever since I covered that article with the asteroid, which I'll actually pull that article up in a second. the one that actually has the precious metals on it, because this looks like it's a lot about energy and just space mining in general, but I want to talk about the one that actually has gold and silver on it, so I'll show that in a second. But regardless, this is something that you can tell they are definitely thinking about, and as the article even said, recently, this is on the forefront. This is what people are talking about. This is what NASA is even signing over. The United States are actually putting laws into place saying and trying to make sure that these private companies, whether it's SpaceX or whoever, when they find or where they mine their resources, it can go back to them. Because like the article said, there is no countries in space. It's space. It's kind of free territory. So what's going to happen when we get to that side of things? It's going to get very political, probably very complicated to some extent, and probably to a very large extent, because we're going into something that's never even been thought of. I mean, yes, the moon, when it's coming from that perspective, but we're talking about much deeper. We're talking about asteroids coming in from light years away towards Earth with $500 quintillion worth of precious metals. That's something that we've never even had to think about before. So it's going to be very interesting how this plays out. On this channel, I'm going to keep you updated. Definitely going to. But right now, this article does explain a lot. Maybe we'll go back to this. It goes a lot into H2O, splitting hydrogen, blah, blah, blah. I don't really want to talk too much about science and all that. I want to talk about the precious metals part. So I think we're going to finish up with this article. Maybe we'll come back to it in a second. But I do want to cover that asteroid, which we will do right now. So there's several different articles about this asteroid. It's called the Psyche 16. And this one's interesting in particular because it's saying it won't make us richer. And I get why they say that. If precious metals are very, very sourceful, then that would be terrible for the price. But anyway, regardless of that, space mining, trying to even think about this being a possibility or reality would probably be a couple decades down the road when precious metals prices will have more than erupted. But this giant asteroid has gold worth $700 quintillion. The human brain, and I don't care, you could try to debate me, the human brain cannot fathom how big of a number that is. The human brain can't even fathom how big of more of a number a billion is than a million. A billion is a much bigger number than a million, and a trillion is an incredible number to even try to fathom compared to a billion. That's why I always talk about in 2008 to 2011, we were throwing out billions of dollars in stimulus. Nowadays, we're throwing out trillions of dollars. I don't think people can even wrap their head around how much more money that is nowadays. Trillions is a much bigger number. But 700 quintillion, that's just insane. So asteroid Psyche 16 has enough gold to give everyone on Earth $93 billion. But it won't remain precious if it hits the markets in large quantities. And yes, it definitely wouldn't. But how possible is this in our lifetime? How possible is this in the next decade? That's the real question. Rejoice, people on Earth. News outlets are reporting that NASA is planning to visit an asteroid made of gold and other precious metals. Now, when I covered the other article, it's more copper and I think nickel. They said there is I don't know exactly, which precious metals they talked about, all of them, but mainly copper and nickel. I remember were the main ones they saw the outer layer was. Enough to give everyone on the planet $93 billion. We're all going to be richer than Jeff Bezos. Okay, now, for the bad news. This isn't going to happen, yes. 16 Psyche and other asteroids will probably be mined for their metals, but once those metals start hitting the market at large quantities, they're unlikely to be precious for much longer. As any introductory economics student knows, price is a function of relative scarcity. Flood the market with gold and it will go from being rarity to being a common decoration. Supply goes up, price goes down. But in fact, there's a more fundamental reason why a giant golden asteroid wouldn't make the world fabulously rich. And why would it? That doesn't make sense. If gold comes down here, why would it be rich? Everyone, it would be so plentiful. Why would anyone want to pay money for something that that's an obvious thing. Maybe not everyone has the investor perspective on this like we do. Because they think, gold is rare, gold is valuable. A giant asteroid coming towards Earth with gold. Oh, we're all going to be rich. They're not thinking it through. It's because wealth mostly doesn't come from big hunks of metal. It comes from the ability to create things that satisfy human desires. And I could disagree with that on many different levels, but I see the perspective he's coming from. But still, gold isn't valuable just because it's shiny. Well, kind of. Silver isn't valuable just because it's shiny. Gold, kind of. Gold is used more for jewelry, more for necklaces, earrings, watches. There still is gold in laptops and cell phones. I used to take out the gold in my old cell phones and laptops myself. You get very little, but it's still just more fun to do. But silver definitely isn't valuable just because it's shiny. There's real uses. So there is value in that. This guy's kind of just saying, oh, it's only valuable because it's gold. It's golden. It's a golden rock. Now, a steel factory represents real wealth because you can use it to make parts for cars, buildings, and so on. A house does too. Silver is how you make those cars, guy, right? He's not looking at it. This is obviously not someone that understands precious metals or isn't a silver stacker, obviously. But it still is, I guess, and he's even saying gold is no longer used as money. Just because it's not pegged to the dollar, gold is still money. Banks still see gold as money. The only reason America is the richest country in the world is because we own the most gold. Gold is definitely still money. Silver, not so much. That could be debatable. That can be an argument. I still think silver is money. Silver was actually money before gold was. Silver, it was a silver certificate. It was backed by silver. It's junk silver, constitutional silver. Silver was first money. Since 5,000 years ago, gold and silver has been money. It's no longer used as money, but it still is. Look at an American Eagle. It's worth $1. It says it's legal it says $1 on it. Now, no one would spend it for that. But banks still see gold as money. I mean, the fact he's trying to just say, oh, gold is just some random asset now. No, and obviously it won't make us all billionaires, but whatever space mining company managed to claim the rock will probably be able to make a substantial fortune for itself, and not just substantial. Now, diamonds used to be exceedingly rare until large deposits were discovered in the 1800s in South Africa. So he's kind of comparing this situation to diamonds and what happened. Now, owners of a golden asteroid, and it's not a golden asteroid. I'm going to go back. Let's look deeper into this, because this guy, he's just saying it's just some golden asteroid. It's not that entirely. I just want to find some articles that show more of the elements of it, because the one that I covered, it definitely was more realistic, not just saying it's a golden asteroid. They were talking about the actual precious metals that were on it. Yeah, made of nickel and iron. It could be a protoplanet, the core of an exoplanet that never got to maturity. And this is a unique object indeed, which is why NASA is planning to visit Psyche 16 in 2026. Like I was saying, in a couple of years, they're going to try to visit it. Will they be able to mine it? Probably not. But it's also probably the most valuable asteroid yet found. That's not why NASA wants to spend a spacecraft to it. Then why does NASA want to spend why do they want to send a spacecraft? Why is NASA going to Psyche 16? Located in the solar system's main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, the metal-rich 16 Psyche is thought to be exposed to metallic iron, nickel, and gold core of a protoplanet. Most asteroids are rocky or icy. The Psyche mission is part of NASA's Discovery program of low-cost robotic space missions. So it looks like they're actually going to check this out. And by 2026, I mean, it's 2021. Who knows in 5 years what technology could be like? I mean, think 5 years ago, electric vehicles were like, that was self-driving car. That was like that was a thought. Now, in 5 years from now, a lot could happen. Not just to the price of silver, but with technology advancing. I want you to comment down below. I want you to participate. Do you think that in 5 years, when NASA visits this asteroid, they will be able to collect gold and iron and nickel off of this thing? And if so, what would it do to the price of gold and silver? And if you say no, how many years or decades do you think it will be possible? When do you think this will be possible? It's a very interesting situation. So due to launch pad from 39A of Cape Canaveral, Florida in August 2022, on the top of a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket, fly past Mars in 2023 and begin orbiting the asteroid in January of 2026. Psyche has just passed its critical design review stage. Now the mission moves to actually making the space hardware. Wow. So this is really this is really going on. It's not just a thought. They didn't just find this asteroid and are theorizing like, oh, that would be great. No, like they're working on this project. They already have a plan. They're already looking at the technology behind it. This is a lot deeper than I actually realized. It's one of the most intense reviews a mission goes through in its entire life cycle, said Lindy Elkins, the principal investigator for the Psyche mission. And we passed with flying colors. The challenges are not over, and we're not at the finish line, but we're running strong. The team now has to build its 3 science instruments: a magnetometer to measure the asteroid's magnetic field, a multispectral imager to capture images of its surface and data about what it's made of and geological features, and spectrometers that analyze the neutrons and gamma rays coming from the surface to reveal what the asteroid is made of. So it's looking like they're going to check out the asteroid, but they're not going to mine it by 2026. And if it is looking like it is, worthy, then they would probably start mining it. But to get there, it even takes 5 years, 4 or 5 years. So this would be longer down the line. Because the top investigator just said the 3 science, well, this is science instruments. I don't know if, so assembly and testing of the full robotic spacecraft begins February 2021. So the main spacecraft chassis is now being built at Maxar Technologies in Palo Alto, California. I'm really curious if they're just going to check out the properties or if they are actually trying to mine this thing. So I don't know. Interesting. Very interesting. What do you think about all this? What do you think about all this? I think it's fascinating. I think I just think this is crazy. I think it's very interesting. I think this could be huge for the precious metal world and industry in both good and bad ways. Now, for ways of our liking, probably bad. But at the end of the day, you can't always play bad guy. Silver stackers are in a weird situation because we kind of have to hope things go bad for our investment to go good. But if you have morals, if you want the better of society and civilization, then obviously you would want something like this to happen because there is a silver shortage. It is going to be hard to make the world, quote unquote, go green and save the planet if we don't have enough silver to do it. So that would be essential. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you thought this video was 1, educational, 2, informational, 3, at least entertaining, make sure to like this video. Let's see if this video can get 1,000 likes. 1,000 likes. That would be insane. I think we can do it. I know we can do it. Also doing my 50,000 subscriber giveaway. If you have watched this video so far, pat yourself on the back. You didn't click off the video thinking you know everything. You didn't click off the video within 2-3 minutes thinking that you don't need to know anymore. You wanted to gather every single bit of information, soak it all up, and that is very important. That is very important as a silver stacker, and also as a person itself shows a lot about your character. So thank you, and pat yourself on the back. I'm going to wrap this video up here. The link to these 2 articles will be in the description. This was Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.